As a self-proclaimed historian and a Jesus-loving American, I can confidently say that America, while it is nowhere near perfect, is probably the greatest country on earth. We do have the most freedom. Granted, we are not very well in other things, but I think we're pretty up there on best countries list. However, there are a lot of things in our history, and as someone who's studied American history more times than he cares to admit, there are some things that we have done that I think were just plain stupid. Like that time we went to war with Spain. The year is 1898, and stuff is really going down in Cuba right now. Part of American ideals is this idea of self-determination, which is basically going to your government and saying, you can't tell me what to do. And the Cubans, and really everyone, was pretty inspired by this. Granted, the entire world was kind of going crazy because there was a revolution in America, there was one in France, there was one in Haiti, there was basically one everywhere now. And the Cubans looked at that and they said, hey, we don't want to be oppressed by the Spanish anymore. So they got themselves a little group and they said, alright, let's do it. So yeah, they went and they did it, and they founded the Cuban Revolutionary Party, led by Jose Perez. I'm not well versed in Spanish lingo. Spoiler alert, he died like 3 years after the party was founded. The Spanish killed him. Even to this day, Jose is still considered a great hero in Cuban history. Kind of like this other guy, his name's like Fidel Castro or something, but we'll get to him later. So obviously, the Cuban Revolutionary Party was not very happy with the Spanish just killing their leader, and it was really getting heated in Cuba. But there were American citizens living in Cuba, so the U.S. said, they went to Spain, and they said, hey, alright, we're gonna send our battleship, the USS Maine, and it's gonna protect the American citizens living in Cuba in this little vicinity. It blew up. The USS Maine was shortly blown up, while it was later figured out that it was likely a fuel fire or something that happened with the engines that likely blew it up. I don't even know if ships have engines. I have a friend who knows a lot about ships, though. But anyway, it blew up, and everyone thought that it was the Spanish because of the American press. This is why I don't think we should have given the press the freedom that they have, because they used yellow journalism, which is a manipulative tactic that allowed the American people to fear the Spanish, and they were like, they blew up our boat, so we're gonna go to war now. The current president at the time, William McKinley, named after me, he said, alright, fine, we're gonna go to war. And there were two main fronts. There was Cuba, and then there was the Philippines, which were in Spanish hands at the time. So they sent forces to Cuba, and then they sent forces to the Philippines too. Turns out the people in the Philippines also wanted freedom, and they teamed up with the Americans, and they kicked the Spanish out of the Philippines. It wasn't very much of a battle. It was a near total American victory. It's one more for the books. All the way over back in Cuba, there was predominantly a volunteer cavalry unit called the Rough Riders. One of them was actually our future president, Theodore Roosevelt, and they are well known for beating the Spanish at the Battle of... oh shoot, what's the hill? San Juan Hill. That's what it is. So yeah, all in all, this took about like 4 months. And then the Spanish surrendered, and the Americans were like, alright, that's cool. We want your land. And with that, one of the shortest wars in American history, or Spanish history at that, at an incredible 4 months long, resulted in American victory, and we were able to get Cuba and place it under American protectorate which means that they're allowed to do whatever they want, but they're kind of under our rule, kind of. Um, the same thing happened with the Philippines, but we also got Puerto Rico and Guam from that war. So next time you go to Puerto Rico without a visa, because I'm pretty sure you can do that, you can thank William McKinley and the Spanish for sucking at war. You know, the sad thing is that it's really like the last prominent thing Spain has done in like history in general, because you know they didn't fight in World War I or II. They haven't really done like anything after that. They probably had the Americans beat them in 4 months, and they were like, "All right, pack it up. We can't do this anymore. It's time for us to be irrelevant." Yeah, and there you have it. That's that time that Spain and America went to war. That lasted 4 months.